Part of my discovery, I had gone to a BMW in Montana. I bought an X5 and I was paying installment of that X5. They still gave me a discount, I think close to 100,000 rand, but it was still expensive monthly payment. A month or so later, a colleague of mine, we are sitting and talking. She tells me that her car was damaged and is sitting on bricks. She's not able to service it. So I asked her, why don't you service the car? Because there's insurance. She said, no, I can't sell the insurance because I'm a single parent. I can't afford. I just bought a house that cost 3 million rand, which also raised my eyes. I said, you're a single parent, 3 million rand house, how do you afford it? Because I can't afford it. I'm married. My wife is giving me some money also, but we can't afford that lifestyle. So this one says, I can't fix my car. I think almost 2 months later, the generals are fighting in front of me. I don't know the reason for the fight. So when I went deeper to try and establish, I discovered that this one who said cannot afford to fix a car, she now drives an X5. So where does the X5 come from? The X5 come from the same garage where I bought mine, but was given for free. Allegations. And I'm asking, but why would a person get an X5 for free? What did you do? Then I discovered as they were talking that it was a kickback from the purchase of the fleet of the VIP, the BMWs that you see for the VIPs. The modus operandi in the police, what I gather is that we hold the money back because we have a contract, Treasury negotiates a contract with different companies to buy cars. And we must buy from the manufacturers of cars, not from a dealer on the corner of the street. But when you go to the manufacturer of the car and you want to buy, and the manufacturer says, I don't have the cars on my floor, then that manufacturer must refer you to a dealer that has the type of a car. But there must be a letter. Then you go to the dealer, you say, I want to get this car, that's how you buy it. But you don't buy it direct from a dealer because it's not registered on a central database. You then need to get a person who's registered on the central database. So there's this gentleman who's registered on the central database. The person stands on standby. A dealer in Montana goes to BMW South Africa and order 50 plus X5s and put them in a basement in his garage and don't sell them. The police, PSS, wants to buy a fleet of cars because you've changed the ministers and so forth. We need new cars. There's budget. We go to BMW, we say, BMW, we want to buy cars. BMW says, X5s are not made in South Africa. We don't have them here. We have to import them. But because you need them now, they check on the system and say, that dealer in Montana has the fleet. They give you the letter. You take the letter, you don't go to BMW, you go to this guy on standby who's a service provider who's registered on the database. We say, place an order, we need 50 X5s. This guy goes to BMW, he collects these 50 cars and he gives it to you, you pay him. That's how, in return, the dealer releases an additional car as a bonus to whoever that facilitated the deal. So the purchases of these cars that come as a fleet towards the end of the year, over many years, they've been systematically ordered in that fashion and there's kickbacks coming out.
What have you done about it?
So it's something that I picked up. Remember, I'm not part of this procurement, and I picked up there's something like this. And then I raised the colleague and said, but you need to open cases if there's something like this. But when the case, I'm told, landed in court, which some of my colleagues that you spoke about are in court today, I was happy. And one of the officials said, but we need that dealer. Because I confronted the dealer when I went to him. I said, you sell me a car and I must pay so much installment, but you give my colleague a car for free. How is it possible? He was angry with me. There was a lockdown in 2020. The first opening of international travel, that gentleman sold his company. He was on a first flight out of South Africa to Canada. He's in Canada this week.
So he knew you were.
So it's a syndicate that has been running for that long. So that's what I'm saying now. When you start seeing colleagues living in a certain lifestyle,
you know,
Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi driving a car that is installment of 20,000 rand. He stays in a house that installment is 20,000 rand. Children goes to school where the school fees is more than 10,000 rand. How much does Mkhwanazi get? These are the questions.
That's why we've called for lifestyle audits over and over.
Long overdue.
Yeah.